This is Korosh Erfani. Today is Sunday, October 26, 2025. We have had the breaking news according to which in Argentina there is a victory for the party of the current president, President Milei, for the midterm election. And this is a kind of astonishing news, surprising news, simply because everybody was waiting for something on the contrary, right? And the question is why someone like Milei, with all the anti-popular, anti-social policies, can effectively win the election for the midterm again. So in order to answer this question, we have to think about many elements, many factors. But I would like to draw your attention on something fundamental, on something that is related to the nature of democracy. Because we know the democracy as a system that is supposed to function according to the people's will, and also for the interest that we identified as a common interest, as national interest or the people's interest. But we can see that incrementally, step by step, democracy is getting away from its real nature, its substantial nature, and is becoming something else. I don't know if we can call that democracy or not anymore, because we can see a kind of transformation. And I am going far enough to say that the metamorphosis of democracy, which means that the nature of democracy had been altered, and now we have something else. The democracy had been emptied from the substantial historical nature that it's supposed to have, right? Because normally democracy must be fed, must be filled with what people is claiming, what people are asking. But when we have other version, other narrative regarding democracy, of course it becomes something completely meaningless, and we cannot really think about that as a real democracy, because democracy is when the will and the claims and the ideal of the majority, and I am talking about a huge majority of society, not only the political majority, are accomplished. You know, the ideas, the wishes, the projects of the majority of the people are satisfied, are executed. But we can see that it's not the case. Now democracy is a tool in the hands of those who can provide, those who can supply the resources in order to manipulate completely a part of the society, a part of the population, in order to have a vote. And once they have this vote, they can do whatever they want. So that's why we should think about what is the seriousness of what we can call democracy right now. You are familiar certainly with this famous definition provided by Abraham Lincoln, according to which democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, right? But what we are experiencing right now, right, is something that is completely the opposite of that, which means that not only we don't see any sign of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, on the contrary, conversely, This is the government of those who dominate the people, by those who are there to exploit the people and for their own interest. So, which means that from these three substantial, essential, quintessential conditions that Lincoln was counting and numbering for democracy, we don't have any more, almost none of them. The government, democracy is the government of wealthy, so it's not anymore for the people, we can say that. It's not anymore by the people, it's just by a minority of the billionaire, those who pay for having a position in the government, and it's not really for the people, it's for the wealthy, it's for the upper class, it's for the dominant class. So tell me, where is the democracy in this definition? Where we can find really something that we can call democracy in the Lincolnian meaning of the term. So that's why we can see that thanks to the accumulation of power and wealth, now the upper class can empty completely democracy from its nature, from what it was conventionally or usually, and to transform it to something completely, we can say, falsified, right? Is a forgery of democracy. It's not the real democracy. Why? Because the people now, the wealthy people, are seriously in the politics, in the political arena, not behind the scene, but in front of the scene, in order to pay for democracy. They want to buy democracy. They want to buy the vote. They want to buy the candidates, not in a very traditional way, like by lobbying or something like that. No, very, very clearly. Look at this. 26 billionaires have poured over $22 million into stopping Zoran Mamdani's campaign for NYC mayor. The people like who? Like Bloomberg, like Ackman, like Bolton, the billionaires, right? So they are there in order to, pay for what they want. They are there to pay for buying the votes that they need in order to put someone at this or that position. It could be White House, someone like Miriam Sheldon, who paid so that Trump can become president, or now they are paying so that a Zionist like Cuomo can become the mayor of New York. So it's a matter of, purchase of democracy. We want to, how much? Give us a number and we will pay and we buy your democracy. So it doesn't mean anything more that we can identify as a social organization, as a social institutional structure in the service of the majority or something alike. So we are in the case of a system that is there to remind us that we do whatever we want. For example, Trump now is telling that the objective of attacking most probably Venezuela is not question of drugs or a matter of traffic of drugs or so. It's just about regime change and getting the control of oil. They want that. They want to take over the government on that country in order to have a control over the huge oil reserves of that country. That's all. They say that. It's not a matter of, I don't know, saying something indirectly or in substance. No, they are saying really and clearly what they want. So that's the reason why lying, for example, is a part of this fake democracy. You see, someone like Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he's there to lie about everything. For example, he's saying now inflation is done, gas is done, and rent is easing. What's the truth? Inflation is up, gas is up, and rent is hardening. So you can say whatever you want. Why? Because you paid for that. You paid for this position of Treasury Secretary. You paid for getting control of government, and that's why you can do whatever you want with that, right? There is no really being accountable or responsible for whatever you are doing. You can do whatever you want, even though you know that it's completely against the national interest. Look, the famous Zionist, the right hand of Netanyahu in the Trump cabinet, Mr. Stephen Miller. He says that we have to pay $27 billion so that we can deport 1 million immigrants. And don't forget, these 1 million immigrants are paying something like $89 billion in tax each year. So we pay 27, we lose 89. So if you do the math, you have 106 billion pure net loss for America. But he's not American, he's Israeli. He changed his name so that he can appear as American. He's an agent of Zionism in order to put down the United States, in order to spread civil war in the United States. Why? Because they want effectively to put down, to make the empire collapse so that they can become effectively the first superpower in the world with the greater Israel. So we should be aware about what is going on. There is no more really a democracy that can be exercised from above. The democracy has been emptied, has been somehow damaged, if not destroyed, from within, right, from the bottom. And that's why the people must be aware about that, must be reactive, and proactive regarding that. Tonight, something interesting happened in the huge gathering of the Mamdani with Bernie Sanders and AOC. Look at this. The people are, chanting, tax the rich, right? They know that who is exploiting, who is depleting the people and the country. And that's why they are saying that what we want effectively is taxing the rich, not taxing the poor. This is what is happening by the rich, by the wealthy people. So all of these elements are there to remind us that democracy is not something that can be, guaranteed automatically, right, mechanically. We have to protect our democracy. We have to act in such a way that democracy can be exactly what Lincoln was telling us, but truthfully, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if it's not the case, we should call it, otherwise, not democracy. The dignity of the word, the respect of the word requires that we ensure the characteristics that are proper to democracy, the features that are the essential and natural, genuine characteristic of democracy, of the people, by the people, and for the people. If even one of these three conditions is not really fulfilled, we cannot consider that system or that government as democratic. We should be very careful about this. Thank you very much for watching this video.